everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I wanted to share with you guys a $100 emergency budget challenge. It has been a while since I have done an emergency budget challenge, so I wanted to pick a $100 budget. I first was thinking $60, but inflation is crazy, and so it ended up being $100, but it's gonna feed our family of 6 all week, and then we're gonna have some leftovers. So I'm super excited about it, super excited to share with you guys everything that we got. Let me share with you everything that I bought first, and then we'll get started cooking. Alright guys, this is my $100 emergency budget challenge. I haven't done one in a while, so I wanted to do one. I was actually aiming for $60. Sorry, my cat's being loud. I was aiming for 60 bucks, but inflation be killing us. But this is gonna serve us 6 days worth of meals, and then we're gonna have leftovers as well. So that's a really great budget for a family of 6. So I feel like we have some really great budget-friendly options for you guys today. And also, I'm going to be doing some, I have plenty of meats. So I know a lot of challenges, they don't have any meats to it. I cannot do that. I like to show all the meats in with our meals because we like meat, guys. We're not vegetarians here. So we like to have good hearty meals, but the thing is that we have some bulk meats, and that's what's gonna provide us some really great meals, and we're just gonna kind of spread out our meats throughout the week as we go. So let me share with you everything that we got. I did spend $101.54. So I'm gonna share with you, we got these buns on sale at Kroger, at our Dillons, for 25 cents each. So that saved us a lot of money. A lot of things that I get, it's either on sale or I do use like rebates, and so that really helps me to save a lot of money. These meats were, I guess they're not a huge discount. I did get this meat when it was $1.79 a pound. That's a really great price for meat. So we're gonna be using this today. This is a pork bone-in shoulder butt. So we're gonna be using that, and then we're gonna be using some chicken, a whole chicken, and then also some chicken breasts. And then we have 2 packets of just macaroni and cheese. This is just the type of mac and cheese that we get. You guys can use a much cheaper option. It's completely up to you. We got some English muffins. I did grab these when they were like $1.15 each, so super great price. Some eggs. These were actually on sale for us, $2.99 for 18 count. That is an awesome price, y'all. So we have 2 of those that we're gonna be using for this meal plan. We need 2 things of chicken broth. I need some French fries to kind of go with some things, some main entrees that we're going to be having. So these are just like sides. I wanted to use up these sausages. And then we have 1 can of cream of corn. We have a big 24-ounce container of sour cream. I need 1 thing of sausage. We have 2 pounds of Colby Jack cheese. I think this is 6 ounces of Parmesan cheese, and then over here we have 1 pound of mozzarella that we'll be using for cheeses. We needed 1 pound of ground beef, some peas and carrots, 2 things of Jiffy cornbread mix. Then we have some cream cheese, some elbow macaroni. I needed 3 things of cream of chicken soup, 1 can of Rotel, 1 thing of Alfredo sauce, and it is the cheapest option is at Aldi. I did get this on sale for $2 when I went to Kroger, the last time I went to Kroger. We're going to need about 2 pounds of rice, so there's about 2 pounds in there that we'll be using. I need 3 packages of tortillas. I got these for $1.69 each. Super awesome price, so I'm gonna need 3 of those. Probably gonna need close to 25 tortillas in this meal plan. And then my kids are just gonna have some cereal 2 of the days, so that should be plenty of cereal for them for 2 days. Actually, it'll probably be exactly the right amount that they're gonna need for 2 days. And me and my husband, I don't eat breakfast. He kind of grabs some things that I have already made for him in the freezer, so I'm not counting him for breakfasts, but And then I'll count myself for lunches and then all of us for dinner. So I'll put in everything what everything costs and the servings, how many servings we ended up having for this whole meal plan. So let's go ahead and we're gonna go ahead and get started on day one. Forgot to video these noodles as well. We did get these. Okay, so for day one, we're gonna get started on some chicken. I wanted to go ahead and cook up my chicken in the crock pot. So I'm just gonna make my seasoning for it. So I need 1/2 teaspoon of paprika, 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1 teaspoon of Italian seasoning, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of pepper, and then I'm just gonna give that a good mix. I'm gonna just go ahead and set that to the side. I'm gonna get my crock pot out. I'm going to lightly grease it. I'm gonna go ahead and add my chicken at the bottom of the crock pot, and then I went ahead and added all of the onions. I just kind of put them to the side, which I wish I would have just put them on the bottom. That would have been better. And then I'm going to take a couple tablespoons of oil, and I'm just going to put the oil all over the chicken, on the front and the back, just spreading it all over. And then I'm just going to lather all of that seasoning all over our chicken. Just make sure you get the sides and the back as well. You just want to get it fully seasoned. All right, and then go ahead and put the lid on and let that cook all morning on a high heat. All right, day one, and we're just having some breakfast sandwiches. Nothing too fancy here, but just something yummy and delicious for them on day one. I used up some of those sausage patties. We used up some eggs, and then we did some shredded cheese for the tops right here. So this is day one, and I don't usually eat breakfast, so that's why you just see 4 here. So this is what we're having on day one. Okay, it's been cooking all morning, so about 4 hours on a high heat, and now I'm going to go ahead and take it out. And of course, if you guys want to do a low heat for a little bit longer, for about 6 hours, that would make this very tender as well. It's really hard for me to get this out of here without it just like falling apart because it is so very tender. It is ready to be shredded, so that's what I'm going to be doing next. I'm just going to take everything and then just shred it all up. This chicken came out very juicy, very tender, had tons and tons of flavor. I highly recommend this recipe. It is very, very delicious. I was very well pleased with it. I love to make my chicken in the crock pot. I love buying this in bulk, and especially if they're on sale. I like to just buy the whole chicken and then just shred it up myself. And you can have so many different meals to go with it. So here is my chicken. It made a ton of chicken, so we're going to make some really good meals using this chicken right here. So for lunch, we're going to be making some chicken quesadillas. So I have our tortillas, and I'm just going to use a little bit of cheese just to kind of make sure that it's going to stick. Anything that I'm going to put on top of the cheese, it's going to stick to that tortilla. So I like to put the cheese first, and then I'm going to put just a little bit of some chicken. I have a little bit of seasonings. Of course, I have this in my pantry. You guys can use whatever type of seasonings that you have on hand. Taco seasoning is just some cumin, paprika, chili powder. And then on top of that, I'm going to put some more cheese and then the final layer of our tortilla. Just fry both sides. And then we had this with some sour cream. My husband loves to have salsa with his, so that's what you see that. But me and the kids just like to have it with some sour cream. Very delicious lunch. My kids love having quesadillas, and we enjoy anything Mexican for sure. Okay, for dinner, I am going to be making some chicken and noodles. So I need 2 cups of shredded up chicken. We're going to need this whole container of chicken broth, so just dump the whole thing, which is about 4 cups or 32 ounces. Next, I'm going to add 2 cans of cream of chicken soup. For seasonings, I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of thyme, 1 teaspoon of parsley, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, half a teaspoon of black pepper, and then I have 2 teaspoons of chicken bouillon powder that I'm going to go ahead and add as well. Go ahead and give that a good stir. Okay, go ahead and put the lid on. We're going to let that cook on a low heat for about 3 to 4 hours. About an hour before you are ready to eat, we're going to go ahead and add this whole bag of egg noodles. And it takes usually about 45 minutes to an hour and a half to get all these noodles completely cooked through. So just make sure and leave enough time to get all these cooked through properly. All right, go ahead and put the lid on and let that cook for about another hour. After that's done, you'll just give it another good stir, and that is it. This is a very, very creamy, delicious dinner. You might need to add a little bit more chicken broth, or you can add any type of dairy to this. That would make it even more creamy. We love to have this over some mashed potatoes, but you can have it just like this as well. It is a phenomenal dinner. And then here I'm just showing that we had, all 6 of us had plenty to eat, and we had a lot of leftovers as well. This made a ton of food, y'all. All right, breakfast. Today we are just having some eggs, some sausage, and then we have 2 whole English muffins, and so we're just going to split that among the 4 kids. And this is what we're going to have today. I only have 2 kids up right now, so I'm just going to feed them, and then I will have my breakfast later. I'll just have some eggs and sausage and call it good. But this is what we're having today for breakfast. For lunch this day, I wanted to make some cracked chicken, and we're going to have some chicken sandwiches. So to my crock pot, I'm going to put about 2.5 pounds of chicken at the very bottom. I have 1 ounce of ranch seasoning, 1 block of cream cheese. I'm just going to place that right on top. And that's it. It is so simple. I love making this meal. You're just going to put this on a low heat for 6 hours, or you can do high heat for about 4. After it's done cooking, it should shred very, very easily. Everything turned out to be super creamy. I absolutely adore this meal. We're also going to put in about a cup of bacon bits. You can do fresh bacon bits, or like the ones that come at Sam's. Those are like the real bacon. That makes just life super simple as well. And then I did put in about a cup of shredded cheese, and then you're just going to go ahead and give that another good stir. We put this on some sandwiches, and then we had some fries on the side as well, since we had that big bag of French fries, and we ended up using the French fries for 2 different meals. But this is what it looks like. I ended up like toasting the buns on a skillet. This is so delicious. It's one of my husband's favorite meals. All my kids enjoy it. It's so easy to make and absolutely delicious. Okay, for dinner, we ended up making my favorite meal, or at least one of my favorite meals, and that is chicken fried rice. To the bottom of my skillet, I just put a couple tablespoons of butter. And then I have 3 eggs that I'm going to scramble up. I'm just going to kind of shift those off to the side. I have a 12-ounce bag of peas and carrots I'm going to add. And then I have just a little bit of some chicken that I'm going to put in there. I have about 2 cups worth. I need 1/4 cup of soy sauce. I have this sesame oil. I'm going to put in about 1/4 cup, and then I end up putting just a little bit more in later. And then I have this stir fry sauce that I've had in my fridge for a while, and I'm just like dying to get rid of. So I just put a couple tablespoons of that in there. And then I had been cooking my rice in my Instant Pot, because that's basically the only way I make rice. So I did 3 cups of dry rice, and then ended up making probably closer to like 6 cups cooked. And so I'm just kind of putting in a little bit at a time. This time it's about 5 cups is what I ended up putting in there. And it seemed to be about right. It seemed like a good ratio between the chicken and the peas and carrots. And so that is it. We just had some chicken fried rice. So easy. And if you need to add more soy sauce or more sesame oil, you can do that as well. You just kind of do it how you like. A lot of times I end up putting like some teriyaki sauce in it. I really like that as well. But the flavors of this are so good, and this made so much. We had tons of leftovers. I think we all ate from this twice. So 12 servings is really good. Okay, today we're having some breakfast quesadillas. I am eating because I am starving today. Famished, y'all. Okay, so this is just tortilla with some sausage, egg, and cheese in it. This is kind of what it looks like in the middle. Let's take a bite and show you guys. Super delicious. Okay, another super easy but yet very budget friendly meal is going to be some chicken and gravy. So I have about 2 pounds of chicken that we're going to put at the bottom of our crock pot. You can add in 1 to 2 packets of chicken gravy mix. I've even done pork before, and that's totally fine. I ended up just doing 1 and it turned out great. I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of parsley, half a teaspoon of black pepper, 1.5 cups of chicken broth, 1 can of cream of chicken soup, and put the lid on. Let that cook on a low heat for 6 hours, or you can do a high heat for 4. I believe I did a high heat for about 4 hours. You just serve this over some rice and you have an amazing meal, and it stretches your budget so far. I love making meals with rice. It's not only delicious, but it also stretches your budget so far. For dinner, we're going to be making some chicken fettuccine in the crock pot because I just love making crock pot meals. It just makes my life super simple. I'm going to put 2 cups of shredded chicken at the very bottom. I have this jar of Prego sauce that we're going to put in. Also, just go ahead and fill that up with water. And then we're also going to put in 1 more cup of water. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and put in 10 ounces of fettuccine noodles. And you can break them up or you can just leave them whole like this. I put in about 1.5 tablespoons of Italian seasoning. And then I put in about 2 tablespoons of minced garlic, 1 teaspoon of salt, and half a teaspoon of black pepper. Next, we're going to put in 1 cup of mozzarella cheese, and then about 3/4 cup of Parmesan cheese, also a block of cream cheese. Go ahead and put the lid on. Let that cook on a high heat for about 4.5 to 5 hours. You do want to make sure that you're stirring occasionally because it will stick to the crock pot. So this is definitely a meal that maybe you want to make while you're at the house. This came out to be very creamy. You might need to add some more milk, or any type of dairy product will work as well. I'm usually pretty skeptic when it comes to noodles in the crock pot, but this one came out really good. Okay, here is our breakfast today. We're just having some breakfast tacos. I just cut up some of the sausage patties, and then I just kind of used a meat masher, kind of crumbled all of them up. I just used 3 patties, and it ended up being enough for the 5 of us this morning. So yeah, this is what we're having for breakfast today. Nothing too crazy, just some breakfast tacos. Now that all of our chicken's done, we're going to go ahead and get started on pork. So I'm going to go ahead and make this in the crock pot as well. I need to get ready for my seasoning. So I need 2 tablespoons of salt, 2 tablespoons of black pepper, 2 tablespoons of garlic powder, and then half a tablespoon of paprika, and then go ahead and give that a good stir. To our crock pot, I'm going to go ahead and grease that. We're going to go ahead and put in our pork roast at the very bottom, and I'm just going to sprinkle that seasoning all over the top. I definitely want to go ahead and add it all over on the sides and on the bottom. So that's what you see me doing here. You really just want to lather it all over and make sure it's very well seasoned. And this is something that I actually like to put on low for a really long time. So I actually put this on low for about 12 hours just because it's a very big pork roast. This is about 4.5 to 5 pounds, and it was so tender. This pork roast was so delicious. I was very, very happy with it. It turned out absolutely divine. I ended up shredding it, and it was so tender, so juicy. The flavor was outstanding. And so you can make so many different meals with pork, and having something that's very tender like this, you're going to have some amazing meals. So I was very well pleased with everything and looking forward to some great meals that I was getting ready to prepare. And so I'm going to be using a little bit for lunch, and I'm going to put everything else in containers and just save it for the days following, and also for dinner that we're going to be making. So up next is going to be lunch. For lunch this day, I wanted to make some pork enchiladas. So to a saucepan, I have 2 tablespoons of butter that I'm going to go ahead and melt. Next, I will add 3 tablespoons of flour, and then go ahead and give that a good stir until it's well combined and a little bit thicker. I will add 1 teaspoon of cumin and go ahead and give that a good stir as well. Next, we're going to add 2 cups of chicken broth, and you're just going to stir that until you can tell that it has thickened up. It may take about 5 minutes for it to get thick. Once it has thickened up, we're going to add half a cup of sour cream. And you just stir that until it is a nice creamy texture. And if you want, you can add about half a cup of cheese to it. That'll make it even more thicker, and it'll add a delicious cheesy flavor to it. Now to a large bowl, we're going to add some pork. I added about 4 cups of shredded up pork. Next, I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of paprika, 1 teaspoon of cumin, 2 teaspoons of garlic powder, and then I have this can of a green enchilada sauce that we're going to go ahead and put in there. I also have about a cup of shredded up cheddar cheese. Well, actually, it's like a Colby Jack and cheddar cheese combo. And then just go ahead and give that a good stir. All right, we're going to set that off to the side. We're going to spray a 9x13 pan, and I'm just going to take our meat and we're just going to put that in the very middle of our tortilla, and then we're just going to roll it up and put it at the very bottom here. And so this made closer to like 8 enchiladas, and so I still have some meat and stuff left over, so I ended up making just a little bit more than what you see here. But then afterwards, we're going to have our sauce that we're just going to pour right on over. And I have a little bit of, probably about another 1 to 2 enchiladas that I end up making. And then, of course, I'm going to put some cheese on top because why not? We're going to put this in the oven at 350 for about 30 minutes. I like to cook it until the edges are nice and crispy. This was heavenly. My whole family thought this was just so delicious. They thought it was restaurant style. I'm telling you guys, pork just has so much flavor in it. I really need to start cooking with pork more because this pork that I bought was actually cheaper than any chicken that I have bought recently. This was $1.79 a pound, and I cannot get my hands on chicken that isn't less than $2.39. So I ended up making some rice on the side. This was a tremendous meal, such a budget-friendly meal as well. Next, we're going to be doing a chili, and I love doing chili for budget videos just because you can make so many different meals with chili. It's so versatile. How I make chili is I like to add just a little bit of bacon grease to the bottom of my Dutch pan, and then I am going to add a little bit of garlic, a tablespoon or two. I love to make chili with sausage. I'm going to do like a sausage and ground beef combo. So I'm going to add 1 pound of each to my pan and then go ahead and just ground it up until it is cooked through. If it's in your budget to add some onions and some peppers, those are phenomenal to add in, and it's going to add so much flavor. Those are my favorite type of chili, is when I add the peppers. Now for seasonings, I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of chili powder, 1 tablespoon of paprika, 2 teaspoons of garlic powder, 2 teaspoons of minced onion, and then 1 teaspoon of garlic salt. Just go ahead and give that a good stir. All right, now we're gonna add in some chili beans. I just did 1 can. If you guys like a lot of beans, you can definitely add in more, whatever type of beans that you guys prefer. I have 1 can of diced tomatoes. I love the petite ones. I think they go great with chili, but there are some really great like chili ready tomatoes that you can use as well. I have 1 can of tomato sauce. And then just go ahead and give that a good stir. I do like my chili a little bit more on the chunky side. I don't like it super saucy, so it's kind of whatever your preference is. And then we have some pork that we're going to add. I just did 1 cup. I found it to be the perfect amount. I just am trying to stir it all together, getting all of that pork shredded evenly, and this is what it looks like. My goodness, you guys, I love brisket and pulled pork in my chili. It just adds so much flavor. We all had some chili, and I just like to top mine with a little bit of cheese and sour cream. We love chili. I eat chili all the time, especially since it's pretty low carb. We really enjoy this meal. Okay, today's breakfast is just cereal, something plain Jane. We're just having our Honey Nut Cheerios. That's all we're having. 4 bowls for the 4 kids, and of course I don't really eat breakfast, so it's just gonna be them eating right now. For lunch this day, we're gonna be doing some barbecue pulled pork sandwiches. Seriously, one of my favorite meals. You cannot go wrong with this. I got these buns super cheap, literally a whole bag for 25 cents. So to me, this is definitely budget friendly. And then just doing some fries. We're going to use the rest of those fries that we had showed at the very beginning of the video. And that's it. That's really all that we need. Usually when I make this, I do like to do like baked beans or something like that. Or even chips. Chips are always really good too. But fries and a barbecue sandwich is seriously so good. You could not go wrong with this. Of course, my family loved it. My husband was in love. He said the pork was phenomenal. Just adding some barbecue sauce on there, that's really all that you need because the meat is flavored so well. Just absolutely amazing. And that is all that we had for lunch this day. It was plenty for me and my family. Okay, now we're going to be using the rest of that chili that we had made earlier because it made tons of leftovers. So I'm going to be making a chili casserole with this. So I need our Jiffy cornbread mix and then 1 can of cream of corn. I'm also going to use half a cup of sour cream, and we're just going to mix that all together, getting that well combined until it's nice and thick, and then we will set that off to the side. To a 9x13 dish, we're just going to take the leftover chili and just put it at the very bottom. And like I said, it made tons of chili. It depends on how big your family is how long it will spread, but for us, it made a whole other casserole. So I'm just going to spread that out, getting all of that nice and even, and then we're going to put our cornbread mix just right on top. And I like to kind of put it in little spots all over the casserole. Try to make it as even as I possibly can. That way it's easier to spread out once you finally use your spatula to spread all of it to be nice and even. You want the cornbread to have a nice even layer on top. And then we're going to toss this in the oven at 350 for about 40 minutes. Sometimes it will take longer. I just kind of eyeball it. Just want to make sure that the middle is completely cooked through, because sometimes that cornbread doesn't always cook through in the middle all the way. So you might have to just put it back in the oven. You just be patient and wait for it to be completely cooked. I love cornbread with chili, you guys. This is one of my all-time favorites. I just love chili in general. Okay, today we are having some macaroni and cheese, and I put some pulled pork in it that we had just shredded up. This is amazing, absolutely amazing. It helps further our lunch here. It tastes absolutely delicious. It tastes way better than it would with just regular mac and cheese. So here's everyone's mac and cheese. We're all eating, the 5 of us are eating today. So delicious. This is a must try. For the last meal that I wanted to do, we're just using up everything that's left over. So I have the rest of my pork that I'm going to be using. So I'm just putting all of that into a large mixing bowl. I have a little bit of taco seasoning that I'm going to put in there. It's probably about a tablespoon to 2. And then I'm just going to go ahead and put the rest of the sour cream. For taquitos, I love to do cream cheese, but I just didn't have it in my budget to do another thing of cream cheese. So we're going to just use sour cream, and it actually turned out really well. It just didn't make it like that thick and creamy texture that I'm after, but it still turned out very well. My husband was very well pleased with how the taquitos ended up tasting. I'm going to use the rest of that cheese, and then I'm just going to go ahead and give that a good mix. It's a little hard to get it all stirred through because my meat is cold, so if this meat was warm, it would be a little bit easier. Once it's all stirred together, I'm just going to make some taquitos, basically just putting a small amount of meat in the very middle, and then I'm just going to spread it out. You can definitely do more meat or less. It really just depends on how you like to eat your taquitos. I typically like to do smaller tortillas, but I ended up doing the rest of the tortillas that I had showed you at the beginning of the video. So we are literally just using everything that's left over and making a meal out of it. And that's how you're going to be able to stay on budget, is doing stuff like this. So I just put us in the oven at 400 degrees. I put them in the oven about 15 to 20 minutes until they're nice and toasty on the edges like that. So good, guys, just so good. I ended up using the rest of the rice that I had, and I just made some normal rice in the Instant Pot. This is so good. We just basically had leftovers. There was nothing else that we had. We used up everything, and we had tons of leftovers throughout this whole video. I love to have sour cream or salsa, or sometimes even queso with my taquitos. This makes a great lunch, or it also makes a great dinner, which is what we had this night. Thanks so much for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you found value in this content, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. Consider subscribing below if you have not already. And I would love to have you here on my channel. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.